Hey there, English learners. Have you ever wished you could speak English smoothly, confidently, and just like a native speaker? Well, today I'm going to share a powerful secret that can transform your speaking skills fast. Welcome back to the channel, and let's talk about shadowing. If you've ever struggled with pronunciation, rhythm, or speaking confidence, then this method is for you. Imagine speaking English smoothly, with clear pronunciation and natural intonation, just like a native speaker. Sounds amazing, right? Well, shadowing can help you get there faster than you think. What is shadowing? Shadowing is a simple but highly effective listening and speaking exercise. It's like being a shadow to someone speaking English. You listen to a sentence and immediately repeat it, copying the speaker's pronunciation, rhythm, and intonation as closely as possible. Think of it as training your brain to speak English naturally without overthinking. Just like how kids learn their first language by listening and imitating, shadowing helps you do the same with English. How to use this video to practice shadowing. First, listen carefully to how I read the sentences. Pay attention to my pronunciation and the natural flow of the words. Then, repeat after me. Try to match my voice exactly. Don't stop to think or translate, just follow the sound. Focus on intonation and rhythm. Speaking is more than just words. It's about how you express those words. Don't worry if you don't get it perfect the first time. Keep practicing, and with each repetition, you'll improve. A helpful tip: you can watch this video multiple times. Each time you'll get better, faster, and more confident. Today's story: Emma's first trip to the US. Now that you know how to practice shadowing, let's get started with a fun and engaging story. Today, we'll follow Emma, a young woman traveling to the United States for the first time. She's excited, ready for an unforgettable adventure in New York City, but things don't go as planned. At the airport, she faces an unexpected situation: a seat mix-up on her flight. This story is written in clear, easy English, so you can focus on learning new words, useful expressions, and practicing your pronunciation with real-life conversations. Are you ready? Take a deep breath, relax, and let's begin. Emma had been dreaming about this day for months. Today was the day. Her first trip to New York City. She had always wanted to visit the Big Apple, to walk through Times Square, see the Statue of Liberty, and experience the energy of one of the most exciting cities in the world. Now, with her suitcase packed and her passport in hand, she was finally making it happen. As she stepped into the airport, a wave of excitement and nervousness hit her. Everything felt big, fast, and full of people rushing in every direction. She took a deep breath and told herself, "I can do this." Emma checked her bag one last time. Passport, boarding pass, phone, wallet. Everything is here. I'm ready. She rolled her suitcase toward the check-in counter. The line was long, but she patiently waited her turn. When she finally reached the counter, the airline agent greeted her with a smile. "Good morning, may I see your passport and ticket?" Emma handed them over, her heart pounding slightly. The agent typed something into the computer and then printed out her boarding pass. "Here you go. You're in seat 17A. Have a great flight." Emma smiled back. "Thank you." She glanced at her boarding pass. A window seat. That was perfect. She loved looking out at the clouds when flying. But before getting to the plane, there was one more step: the security check. As she approached the security line, she gasped. Wow, that's long. Dozens of passengers stood ahead of her, slowly moving forward as officers checked their bags and scanned their passports. She sighed, but reminded herself to stay patient. This is part of the journey. When it was finally her turn, she placed her carry-on bag and shoes into a tray, walked through the scanner, and waited. Beep! Uh-oh. The security officer gestured for her to step aside. Her heart raced. What happened? "Ma'am, do you have any liquids in your bag?" the officer asked. Emma suddenly remembered her small bottle of hand lotion. "Oh, yes, I think I do," she said nervously as she pulled it out. The officer smiled. "No problem, just make sure it's under the liquid limit next time. You're good to go." Emma exhaled in relief. Okay, security check complete. Now she just needed to find her gate. Gate 23. She glanced at the departure board. Flight 567 to New York, Gate 23. Almost time to go. As she walked through the terminal, she couldn't help but admire the shops and restaurants around her. People from all over the world were speaking different languages, grabbing coffee, checking their phones, and hurrying to their flights. It felt like a whole new world. Finally, she arrived at Gate 23. She found a seat and checked the time. There were still 30 minutes before boarding. She pulled out her phone and sent a message to her best friend. "I'm at the gate. Next stop, New York. Can't wait." As she put her phone away, the airport speakers crackled to life. "Attention passengers, Flight 567 to New York is now boarding. Please line up by group number." Emma's heart skipped a beat. This is it. Her adventure was about to begin. With her boarding pass in hand and excitement in her eyes, she stood up, took a deep breath, and stepped forward toward the plane. Emma stepped onto the plane, her heart racing with excitement. This is it, her first flight to New York City. She clutched her boarding pass in one hand and her carry-on bag in the other as she carefully walked down the narrow aisle, searching for her seat, 17A, a window seat. As she reached row 17, she stopped. Her eyes widened in surprise. There, sitting in seat 17A, was a man in a blue jacket, casually looking out of the window. Emma hesitated for a moment, then cleared her throat and spoke politely. "Excuse me, sir. I think this is my seat," she said with a small smile. The man turned to look at her, slightly confused. "Are you sure?" "Let me check my ticket," he replied, reaching into his pocket. Emma confidently pulled out her own boarding pass and pointed at the number. "Yes, see? 17A window seat." The man examined his ticket and frowned slightly. "Well, my ticket also says 17A, he said, scratching his head. For a moment, they both stared at each other, unsure what to do. Emma felt a little nervous. Was there a mistake? Should she call a flight attendant? Before she could decide, the man simply smiled and said, "It's okay. You can take the window seat. I don't mind sitting in the middle." Emma felt a wave of relief. "Are you sure?" "I don't want to take your seat," she said, feeling a bit guilty. "No problem at all," he said with a shrug. Emma thanked him and quickly took her seat. She placed her bag under the seat in front of her, fastened her seatbelt, and looked out the window. The view of the airport runway was amazing, and she felt lucky to have the window seat. As the plane took off, she glanced at the man beside her. He didn't seem upset at all about giving up his seat. In fact, he was completely calm, flipping through a magazine as if nothing had happened. That was nice of him, Emma thought. Everything seemed perfect, until about 30 minutes into the flight. A flight attendant approached their row, holding a tablet in her hand. She looked at Emma, then at the man, and smiled politely. "Excuse me, but I think there has been a mistake," she said. Emma's stomach dropped. A mistake? What mistake? The flight attendant checked their tickets, then pointed at Emma's seat. "Your seat isn't 17A, miss. You're actually in 17C, the aisle seat." Emma's eyes widened in shock. What? How could that be? She quickly pulled out her ticket and looked at it again. And there it was, clear as day, seat 17C. Her stomach dropped. Oh no, she'd been so sure, but she was wrong. Embarrassed, she looked at the man, not knowing what to say. She turned to the man in the blue jacket, her heart sinking. He had been right all along. I'm so sorry," Emma stammered. "I really thought this was my seat." The man just smiled and waved his hand dismissively. "Don't worry about it," he said with a chuckle. "Mistakes happen." Emma couldn't believe it. He had known all along, but still let her have the window seat without arguing. He didn't get upset, didn't complain. He just quietly moved to the middle seat and let her enjoy the flight. For the rest of the flight, Emma kept thinking about what had happened. She felt embarrassed about her mistake, but also incredibly grateful for the man's kindness. He could have easily argued, made a scene, or demanded his seat back, but instead, he chose patience. As the plane began its descent, Emma turned to him and said, "Thank you for being so kind. I really appreciate it." He laughed. "No problem. Just double-check your ticket next time," he teased. Emma nodded, smiling. Lesson learned. As she walked off the plane, she reflected on what she had learned. 1. Always double-check your seat before sitting down. A simple mistake could cause unnecessary confusion. 2. Kindness and patience make the world a better place. The man could have been upset, but instead, he was understanding and polite. 3. Mistakes happen, and that's okay. What matters is learning from them. Emma smiled to herself. Her trip to New York hadn't even officially started yet, and she had already experienced an important life lesson. Sometimes the best part of traveling isn't just the destination, it's the people you meet along the way. Here's the truth. Mistakes are not the enemy. Fear of making them is. Every mistake is a lesson in disguise, just like Emma's mix-up on the plane. We worry about being wrong, about looking foolish, about making a bad impression. But here's the truth. Mistakes are not the problem. How we react to them is what really matters. Emma's story on the plane is a perfect example. She was absolutely sure she had the right seat. She even showed her ticket with confidence. But in the end, she realized she had made a mistake. In that moment, she had two choices. She could feel embarrassed and let it ruin her trip, or she could learn from it, laugh it off, and move forward. She chose the second option, and because of that, she walked away with a valuable life lesson. Always check before you assume. One of the biggest takeaways from this story is simple. Always double-check your information before insisting you're right. Emma was so excited and sure of herself that she didn't take a second to carefully look at her ticket. If she had done so earlier, she could have avoided the awkward situation altogether. The same applies to real life, whether it's travel, work, or even conversations. Taking a moment to confirm the facts can save you from unnecessary mistakes. Kindness and patience matter more than being right. One of the most inspiring parts of Emma's experience was how the man in the blue jacket reacted. He had every right to challenge her, to insist on his seat, to make her feel bad for her mistake. But he didn't. Instead, he simply smiled, chose kindness over conflict, and let the moment pass without frustration. This is a reminder that our attitude is more important than always being right. In a world where people are quick to argue, judge, or prove their point, having a little patience and understanding can make all the difference. A small act of kindness can turn an uncomfortable moment into a positive one. Learning English is just like this. If you're learning English, you might feel nervous about making mistakes. Maybe you're afraid of mispronouncing a word, using the wrong tense, or saying something incorrectly. But guess what? Making mistakes is how you learn. Just like Emma learned from her mistake on the plane, every mistake you make in English is an opportunity to grow. Instead of feeling embarrassed, embrace it. Every time you say something wrong, you're getting one step closer to saying it right. So the next time you struggle with English, remember this. It's not about being perfect. It's about improving. Mistakes are not failures. They are stepping stones to success. Keep going, keep practicing, and most importantly, keep learning with confidence. Imagine yourself in Emma's shoes. You're traveling, and suddenly there's a misunderstanding. What do you say? That's why today we'll learn some essential English phrases for traveling. Whether you're at the airport, on a plane, or exploring a new city, knowing the right words and phrases can save you from confusion and help you connect with people. In Emma's story, she found herself in an awkward situation because she didn't double-check her ticket. But thanks to some simple travel phrases, she was able to handle it politely and effectively. Let's break down some of the most useful words and expressions you can use when traveling, especially at the airport and on a plane. Essential phrases for traveling. These are practical phrases that will help you navigate through the airport and communicate with people around you. 1. When someone is sitting in your seat. Imagine you board your flight and you see someone sitting in your assigned seat. Instead of panicking or feeling nervous, you can simply say, "Excuse me, this is my seat." This is a polite and direct way to let someone know that they may have made a mistake. It helps avoid conflict while keeping the conversation friendly. 2. When you need to verify information. Sometimes there might be confusion about your seat number, departure gate, or boarding time. In these cases, use "Let me check my ticket." This phrase allows you to pause and verify your details before continuing the conversation. It also shows that you're calm and thoughtful rather than rushing to conclusions. 3. Wishing someone a safe journey. If you're saying goodbye to a friend or meeting someone new at the airport, it's always nice to leave them with a positive message. Have a good flight. This phrase is simple but thoughtful. It's a great way to be polite and show kindness to fellow travelers, flight attendants, or anyone you meet at the airport. Important vocabulary for airports and flights. Understanding key airport and airplane-related vocabulary will make your travels much easier. Here are some important words and what they mean. 1. Boarding pass. Definition: the ticket that allows you to enter the airplane. Example: I showed my boarding pass at the gate before getting on the plane. 2. Types of airplane seats. When booking a flight, you will have different seat options. Knowing these terms will help you choose the best seat for you. Window seat, the seat next to the window, great for enjoying the view. Middle seat, the seat between two other passengers, not always the most comfortable. Aisle seat, the seat next to the walkway, perfect for easy access to the restroom or stretching your legs. Example: I prefer a window seat because I love looking at the clouds. 3. Security check. Definition: the process where airport staff check your bags and ID for safety reasons. Example: the security check took a long time today because there were many passengers. 4th gate. Definition: the area where passengers wait before boarding the plane. Example: my flight is boarding at gate 23. These words are essential for navigating the airport and making sure you don't miss your flight. Polite phrases for conversations while traveling. Being polite can go a long way, especially when you're in a new place. Here are some useful expressions to keep your conversations smooth and positive. 1. When someone apologizes to you. If someone accidentally makes a mistake or inconveniences you, responding kindly can make the interaction more pleasant. Don't worry about it. This is a great way to show that you are not upset and that the mistake was small. Example: passenger: I'm sorry for taking your seat. You: don't worry about it. It happens. 2. When someone makes a mistake. It's normal to make mistakes, whether it's boarding the wrong flight or mispronouncing a word in a foreign language. If you want to reassure someone, you can say, mistakes happen. This phrase reminds people that errors are a part of life, and there's no need to feel bad about them. Example: flight attendant: I'm sorry for the seat mix-up. You: it's okay, mistakes happen. 3. Wishing someone well on their journey. When someone is about to leave on a trip, a nice way to say goodbye is, enjoy your trip. This phrase is a friendly way to show that you hope the person has a great experience. Example: your friend is going on vacation. You say, enjoy your trip. Send me photos. Practice these words and phrases. Now that you know these key travel expressions, it's time to practice. Try repeating them aloud to build your confidence. Imagine different travel situations and practice responding in English. Here's a quick exercise for you. Scenario: you arrive at your assigned seat on the plane, but someone is already sitting there. How would you handle the situation? Try saying this out loud. Excuse me, this is my seat. Let me check my ticket. No problem, mistakes happen. Practicing these short phrases will help you feel more confident when speaking English in real situations. Final thoughts. Speak with confidence. Traveling to a new country is exciting, but it can also be challenging if you don't feel comfortable speaking English. That's why learning useful travel phrases and key vocabulary can help you feel more prepared and relaxed. The next time you're at an airport or on a plane, try using these expressions. Whether you're checking your boarding pass, finding your seat, or simply wishing someone a good flight, these small phrases can make a big difference in your travel experience. So, are you ready to put these words into action? Try using them the next time you practice English, and soon you'll feel confident speaking in any travel situation. Now that we've learned useful phrases and vocabulary from Emma's journey, it's time to put them into action. One of the most effective ways to improve your pronunciation, rhythm, and speaking confidence is through a technique called shadowing. And today, we're going to practice it together. What is shadowing and how does it work? Shadowing is a powerful language learning method where you listen to English and immediately repeat what you hear, trying to match the pronunciation, intonation, and speed. It's like being a shadow, following every sound and movement closely. Many English learners struggle with speaking fluently because they don't get enough real practice. They spend time studying grammar and vocabulary, but hesitate when it's time to speak. Shadowing bridges the gap between listening and speaking, training your mouth and brain to work together more smoothly. By practicing this technique daily, you will improve your pronunciation, sound more natural and confident, enhance your listening skills, understand English conversations better, develop faster speaking reflexes, respond more quickly without overthinking, gain confidence, speak English without fear. How to practice shadowing with this story. Step 1. Watch and listen first. Watch the story of Emma's journey again and listen carefully to each sentence. Pay attention to how words are pronounced, the speaker's tone and emphasis, the natural rhythm of English speech. Step 2. Repeat after me now. Try to mimic each sentence exactly as you hear it. Don't worry if it's not perfect at first. The goal is progress, not perfection. For example, listen and repeat after me. Excuse me, this is my seat. Let me check my ticket. Mistakes happen. If some words are difficult, slow down and practice them separately. Repeat as many times as needed. Step 3. Call and response practice. Now, let's turn this into a real conversation. I will say a sentence and you respond out loud. Imagine you're actually in the situation. I say, "Excuse me, this is my seat." You respond. I say, "Let me check my ticket." You respond. I say, "Have a good flight." You respond. This is the same technique used by actors and professional speakers to train their voices. The more you practice, the more natural English will feel. Why shadowing works? Shadowing is one of the best ways to train your brain to think and respond in English. When you listen and repeat without stopping to translate, you start to think in English instead of your native language, react faster in conversations without hesitation, speak smoothly with natural intonation. At first it might feel challenging, but don't give up. Every time you practice, you are training your voice and ears to work together. Soon, speaking English will feel automatic. Your challenge: shadowing every day. To make real progress, set a small goal. Day 1. Practice shadowing for 5 minutes. Day 2. Try repeating sentences faster. Day 3. Record yourself and compare with the original speaker. Day 4, plus. Keep practicing until you can say each sentence smoothly. Final words. Keep practicing and stay confident. Remember, learning English is not about being perfect. It's about practicing consistently and enjoying the process. Even if you make mistakes, that's a good sign. It means you're improving. So, are you ready? Let's practice shadowing together and take your English to the next level. Learning English is not just about memorizing words or studying grammar. It's a journey. And like every journey, each small step you take brings you closer to success. Whether today was your first time practicing shadowing or you've been doing it for a while, what matters is consistency. Every time you listen, repeat, and speak out loud, you're training your brain to think and communicate in English naturally. Don't be afraid of making mistakes. Mistakes are not failures. They are proof that you're learning and improving. The more you practice, the more confident and fluent you will become. To make the most out of this lesson, watch this video again and practice shadowing as many times as you need. Try using the phrases we learned today in real life. Whether it's ordering coffee, asking for directions, or even having a conversation with a friend. The key to mastering English is using it every day. But now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever been in a situation like Emma's? Maybe you took the wrong seat, got lost in an airport, or had a funny travel mistake. Share your experience in the comments. Which phrase did you find the most useful today? Let me know so I can bring you more lessons that fit your needs. Enjoyed today's lesson? Give it a thumbs up and share it with a friend. And don't forget to subscribe for more fun ways to master English. Keep practicing, stay confident, and enjoy the journey of learning English. See you in the next video.